Today we're answering the question that every senior asks. Heck, every client over the age of 16 that I've ever worked with has asked me this at some point, and you've probably asked yourself this. How often do I need to exercise every week? Find the right answer and it can be life-changing. Never bother, and you're basically guaranteed to get weaker, stiffer, and turn more into a sad sack of garbage on your couch with every passing year. So how often should you exercise every week? Let's dive into it. And don't worry, there's not going to be a bunch of boring science stuff, although we will talk about C-SPAN and Plato's Republic. Okay, so let's get this out of the way for all the normal people out there who don't love living in the gym and just want to feel confident in their daily lives and be able to get regular daily stuff done. How often should you exercise? About 2 to 4 times per week, and that'll vary based on 2 major factors. First, it's going to depend on your goals, and second, it's going to depend on your body's tolerance, and there are some sub-items under tolerance that we'll talk about in a second. So if your goal is to just feel confident and capable in daily life, that is going to look very different from someone who wants to get shredded thick or become a narcissistic fitness influencer with shady affiliate deals and no real friends. By tolerance, I mean how much exercise can your body handle without you feeling too sore, broken, or walking like Frankenstein. Some people can lift weights 8 days a week and somehow still feel amazing. And some twisted souls love doing cardio on a treadmill at the gym 5 days a week. They swear it's invigorating. But the rest of us usually do well with 2 to 4 workouts a week of about an hour each of moderately intense resistance training. And that's assuming you're eating good food and getting enough sleep every single night, which we'll talk about later. Add some kind of cardiovascular activity that you enjoy and isn't mind-numbing, like watching cable news while a sad rubber belt moves your sad feet back and forth while you're breathing in the sweaty mist of so many strangers. And you can maintain your health and energy pretty well. Now you might be wondering, where does stretching fit into all of this? And that is a great question. I'm glad you asked. Stretching, when done right, is actually a form of resistance training. You're teaching your muscles to get stronger in lengthened positions. You're teaching them to control full ranges of motion. If you use weight, that's called loaded stretching, and it can be a game changer. But even if you're not using weight, you're using your body's weight to leverage those muscles and force them to work. Adding the weight can make things even more effective. Stretching to maintain your mobility or increase your ranges of motion can be amazing for your quality of life, so I highly recommend it. Unless you are some kind of yoga noodle person already, you should be doing some stretching to make sure you don't turn into a stiff ball. And here's the part you probably won't like. Stretching a little bit every single day can be a great idea, and it won't kill you. A couple minutes a day on your stiffest parts, totally doable and totally worth it. But what will kill your spirit one day is realizing that you can't touch your toes, put on your socks, or reach the plates on that top shelf because some sad set of muscles in your body forgot how to lengthen and stabilize in that lengthened position. So please take some time to learn how to stretch properly. I will drop a link in the description box down below. And if you are stretching regularly 10 to 15 minutes a day, you can go ahead and count that towards your workout time. It doesn't replace cardio and it doesn't replace resistance training with weights, but it does do good for your body. So when you're thinking about your overall investment of time every single week, go ahead and count that so you feel better about what you're doing for yourself. Whether it's resistance training or stretching, taking the time to take care of your body is important, and you're going to enjoy the results. Depending on your genetics, your nutrition, your sleep habits, and your starting baseline fitness level, you might be able to tolerate only 2 workouts or maybe 4 workouts, but most people land somewhere in this 2 to 4 sessions per week range. To make this really simple, the better the quality of the food you eat, the better you're going to feel, the better your body is going to be able to recover and build itself after your workouts. The better the quality of your sleep, the better your body can recover from your workouts and build itself. And if you find it difficult to lift 1 pound, you're going to need to be more gentle with yourself and be more patient, because somebody who can already lift 20 pounds is going to be able to recover from lighter workouts a lot faster than you. But that doesn't mean you should not work out at all. It just means you need to respect the pace that your body demands. And on the topic of genetics, it's important that you realize that we're not all the same. I know some men who never lift weights, who never exercise, who just sit on a couch, and somehow their calves and their biceps are still bigger than my head. Meanwhile, if I don't work out regularly, I start looking like skin, bones, and a little bit of flab. My legs start to remind you a lot of the meat section at a Ranch 99. Each session will last about an hour, sometimes less, and especially if you're a beginner, you might need to start with shorter workouts because your body is going to revolt like a bunch of angry French peasants. So don't try to go all Robespierre on your body right from the start. Take it slow, take it safe, because otherwise you might feel like you've got your head in the guillotine. Just remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. Now, what if you want to be ripped, jacked, and really thick? By the way, can someone explain why there are two C's in thick? Middle-aged, out-of-touch old guy asking here. You can just drop the answer in the comment section down below. If you want low body fat, muscle definition, and proportions that give men, women, and even dogs erections at first sight, then you're going to need to dedicate a lot of time to the endeavor. This works best when you are young, single, and still believe that social media likes mean something. You will be eating mostly home-cooked meals that you have planned in advance, or you'll have a personal chef, or a very obedient and subservient partner who also handles all your other life responsibilities. Your workouts, they'll probably be about 2 hours long, at least 4 days a week, sometimes twice a day. Building and maintaining that physique is at least a part-time job, which in France is actually considered a full-time job, which in Asia isn't even half a job. So yeah, you'll be working out a lot, cooking food at home, drinking protein shakes, and making sure that you get at least 8 hours of sleep every night. If that sounds awful, that's totally fine. You don't have to do it. And also, don't torture yourself wondering why you have not yet achieved Fitspo Nirvana. It's simply because you are not putting in the time and energy required to create glistening abs or glutes that even baboons want to peel like a banana. So just aim to be a normal, healthy person. Work out 2 to 4 times a week, eat healthy food, and try to get a reasonable amount of sleep, around 7 to 8 hours a night. And by the way, if you have trouble getting a full night of sleep, be sure to check out the Body Rebuilding Basics at uprighthealth.com/BRB. It's totally free on my website, and I show you how I structure my evenings, avoid doom scrolling, and actually fall asleep like a functioning adult. You'll see the apps and the habits I use, plus follow along workouts to help you get your body moving. So go to uprighthealth.com/BRB to check it out. And just so we're really clear, you shouldn't feel bad if you don't look like a model or a fitness influencer. If you don't have the time and the resources to spend most of your time taking care of your body and chiseling it and sculpting it to make it look like a magazine, I guess nobody reads magazines, like an Instagram model, you shouldn't feel bad. It is literally impossible to achieve unless you're really genetically gifted and you put a lot of time and energy into crafting your body and your virtual image online. Now, what about competitive athletes? If you are a competitive athlete, you should not be asking me or really any YouTube video. Go talk to your coach or trainer. You already know that you need to train, practice, and recover basically every single day. But I will ask you one question. Are you training to improve or at least maintain your range of motion and your basic level of flexibility? Because if you're not, you're cruising for trouble. I don't care what sport you're in, you need to dedicate at least 1 to 2 hours a week to make sure you're not turning into a stiff board. You need to integrate flexibility training into your weekly practice. Gymnasts already know this, and you can see it in how well they move and how strong they are. But athletes in other sports, they love pretending that being stiff is a great long-term strategy that makes them stronger, better, and faster. Cool, check back with us in 15 years and let us know how your spine, hips, knees, and shoulders are doing. Ultimately, it's cheaper to maintain your basic flexibility than it is to pay somebody to tie your shoes. And let's take a second to talk about age. The unfortunate reality is as you get older, recovery takes longer. Your body is not as primed to build. When you're a teenager, yeah, you can build muscle, everything goes pretty easy. But as you get older, it starts to get a lot harder to build muscle. It's a lot harder to maintain muscle, and it may feel a lot harder to maintain your mobility because things feel like they're just getting crinkly, dried up, and stiff. But that doesn't mean you can't maintain your mobility. It doesn't mean you can't restore some strength. My own mother, even in her mid-70s with mid-stages of dementia, was able to build strength in her lower and upper body as long as I was there to coach her and guide her and make sure she was doing the right exercises. And that was only over the course of 1 or 2 sessions a week for about 30 to 40 minutes each session. So it's not like we were battering her with lots of exercise. We were just giving her enough stimulus for her body to realize, oh, we can be a little bit stronger. So if you're an older adult, spend at least an hour over the course of the week doing a little bit of something to build some strength so you can maintain muscle and bone density so you can stay safe and independent for the long run. With a little bit of exercise, you can avoid looking shriveled up like this tree and look a little healthier and more resilient like this tree. So now you might be wondering what my personal routine looks like as an over-the-hill 40-something. Shout out to Sabby, by the way, who emailed me to find out what my personal routine looks like. That's why I'm making this video. In his email, Sabi told me he wants to be flexible and strong without living in the gym. So here's what I do. And before I explain my regimen, I just want to make something crystal clear because some people think that spending all day in the gym is anything more than 20 minutes a week. And that standard is unfortunately just not realistic. You're not going to be able to really train your body to feel good in that small amount of time unless you are really some kind of genetic freak. Most mornings, I'm awake 30 to 90 minutes before my wife and son wake up. I go to the garage and train during that time. Sometimes it's just gentle stretching, light resistance band work, and other days it's heavier resistance training that gets my body a little bit fatigued, but gets my brain feeling ready for the day. Several afternoons a week, I do 30 to 90 minutes of extra resistance training or stretching just to get my body feeling good after sitting at a computer because I've been editing or sitting in this spot filming videos for you. You're welcome. All together every week, I train 3 to 8 hours a week. Sometimes when I just want to do a little bit of cardio, I'll go to the gym and do a 20-minute treadmill session. Many weeks I do absolutely nothing for cardio and I just sit on a surfboard waiting for waves. But now that I'm 43, here's what I've learned. I feel way better when I train regularly. Even when I'd rather be doing something else, I would never rather feel worse, so I need to train. If I don't train, I get stiff, weak, and sore. If I train too hard, I might get sore, but that just means a little more recovery time, maybe a little massage work and some extra stretching. But if I don't train enough, my body gets hungry and craves more movement, and it tells me by making me feel uncomfortable and fidgety. So what I've learned is you have to train your body, period. End of story. But I know a guy who never exercises and he looks and feels amazing. Yeah, so do I. I envy him, but I'm not him, and neither are you. I also wish I were 6 feet tall, but buying size 13 shoes and wearing extra large shirts doesn't actually make me taller, it just makes me look like a toddler playing in his dad's closet. For every one of those genetic unicorns, I know dozens of normal people slowly falling apart while trying to distract themselves from their decline with the pursuit of money, the pursuit of more things, or the pursuit of more booze. Remember that you are not your cousin, your coworker, or your neighbor. Treat your body the way it needs to be treated, and that means you're probably gonna have to train. I'm not a dumb jock who works out at the gym. I read books. Same here. I usually read about a book a week, and I'm only one of 2 people that I know in real life who actually watched the British House of Commons on C-SPAN and thought it was riveting. So before you get too full of your intellectual self, I'd like to draw your attention to Plato's Republic, in which Plato writes, "But what else is a weak Athenian but a slave in waiting for the endless, virtueless lusts of the barbarous Persians?" Okay, he didn't actually write that, but in Plato's Theaetetus, how do you say this? Socrates is reported to have said, quote, "And is not the bodily habit spoiled by rest and idleness? but preserved for a long time by motion and exercise. That's right. He said that. Are you saying that you are smarter than Socrates? What gives you that confidence? Have you tested that belief thoroughly? Yeah, I didn't think so. So go get your gym membership or start building your garage gym at home, unless you want to become a slave to the Persians. And please know, if you're building your own gym at home, it doesn't have to be a dark, dirty dungeon with barbells, dumbbells, and stall mats. It can be a clean space, somewhere even in your house with a couple dumbbells, maybe adjustable dumbbells because those save you a lot of space, some resistance bands, and maybe some ankle weights. And that's more than enough to get started. You can add more things later as you develop more fluency and competence in exercises. Keep in mind also that you don't have to work out alone. You can get a training partner, you can join a group fitness class, you can hire a personal trainer. You can just work out by yourself if that feels like it helps you stay more focused and be more productive and consistent. Find what works for you. The answer is going to be different from person to person. And always remember to listen to your body. The only metrics that matter are how good your body feels and whether it can do what you want it to in real life. You do not have to hit arbitrary metrics for this much weight lifted just because somebody else can do it. It doesn't matter if you can do as many reps as that person. What matters is whether you feel like your body is increasing its capacity to do the things that you love doing. I'm in my 40s and I want to bike, hike, use a one-wheel, snowboard, and do all kinds of random things with my body. That takes training, and it takes training towards my goals. You will never find me doing a Navy SEAL style boot camp workout in my garage because it doesn't serve my goals. So get clear on your goals and train for them carefully, safely, and gradually. Please remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. Your goals don't need to be super ambitious and super dramatic, although having an ambitious goal can help. But maybe right now you are starting at a level where ambitious feels way too out of reach. Setting more manageable, more reasonable goals might be perfect for you. Maybe you want to be able to walk 20 minutes without getting winded. Fantastic. You want to be able to touch your toes without having to visit the ER? Fantastic. You want to be able to run 13 miles? Fantastic. Whatever it is, build up to it gradually. Avoid adding 50% more weight or difficulty or frequency every week. Tiny, consistent increases over long periods of time are how you get long-term success without injury. And injury-free is the way to be. So what's your training goal and what schedule are you going to set for yourself? Drop me a comment down below. And if you want help getting started rebuilding your body, go to uprighthealth.com/BRB and get the free Body Rebuilding Basics program. It's got workouts, mobility routines, and boatloads of tips to help you improve your posture, flexibility, and even sleep. Zero cost, tons of value. Go get it. Also, YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here. Like, share, and subscribe with the bell notification on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.